Hey guys, today we are going to go through a quick lesson on how to write a personal narrative. The personal narrative is a story that is about you, something that actually has happened. It's not a fictional story, it's not a story you make up about you. It is a real event that has happened to you. So it's a nonfiction piece of writing. So today your objective is that you will be able to plan a first draft by brainstorming and planning out your steps. Then next you will be able to draft your piece of writing. Then you'll be able to revise your writing and edit your writing. And then you will be able to rewrite it into a final draft. So those are the steps we're taking. Planning your draft, drafting it, revising it, editing it, and then of course writing out your final draft. So today's prompt that I want you to use is that tell me about a time when something great happened to you. That's a very general idea. So that's why we have to brainstorm. So the way we brainstorm is we come up with our thinking map, our bubble map. So you write what the prompt is in the middle. So in the middle here, it would be something great that happened to me. Okay, something great that happened. And then you're going to figure out some of the things that were great that happened to you. After you have done that, then you're going to plan what you've chosen. So say I decided I was going to choose this thing that happened to me. So I'm going to take that one thing, not all of these, just the one, and I'm going to plan it out. So whatever that might be, we're going to plan it out. And the way we plan it is we start in sequence, in order of events. So this happened first, maybe a couple of little other things that happened, and then this happened, maybe add a couple more things before this next thing, and then so on. And that's how you plan it out. You don't write the whole story, you just write the quick little plans and the little ideas of the order of events, and however many events you had, okay? After you have planned, then you're going to draft, revise, and edit. Now, let's pretend that I had drafted the blue, okay? This is just words. We're going to pretend that I've written words. So they're pretend words. And then after I have done that, I'm going to revise. And revising is when you go back in and you add things to your sentences. You add extra stuff that you didn't have before to make the story even richer than it was. And then you're going to edit. Editing is when you go in and you correct the mistakes that are mechanical mistakes with capitals, periods, misspelling words, those kind of things. So once you have completely done your drafting, your revising, and your editing, then you are going to write out your final draft using the corrections you've made, the revising and the editing corrections you've made to make one final really nice, pretty piece. So today I am actually going to show you one of the things that I did because I went through and I did the steps as well. So here's my brainstorm. So this is when I'm brainstorming. So tell me about a time something great happened to you. Excuse me. So I took the prompt and I put it in the center, something great that happened. And I went through and I put about a lot of different things that happened that was great to me. I said I went to a foreign country, got married, bought a new house, had my first baby, became a teacher, bought my first car. Those were all great things that happened to me. But I chose specifically when I got married. So I boxed it and checked it, and that is my brain's, that's the idea I want to focus in on. So I then took that idea and I just forgot about the rest and took that one idea and I planned out my writing. And what I did was I kept this up here to when I got married to help me focus on what I'm talking about. So I said the first thing that happened was I met Adam, and then we started dating, and then we went to fun places. The zoo was the first date, State Fair, Six Flags, camping. And after a while, I knew he was the one for me, was my fourth idea. Then he asked permission for my dad to ask me to marry him. And then he did ask me to marry him, and then we got married, and the little different details about that. So that's not my whole story. That's just a little bitty piece of my story, just to kind of keep it in order. So that's my planning out your writing. Now, I took it and I did a draft, and I haven't actually revised it. I was going to kind of revise it with y'all. So I said the day I met Adam was on a Sunday morning at church. I need to make sure that I am doing my editing and revising as well, and I'll kind of go through the story and then come back again. I was actually dating someone else, but I thought he was a really nice guy and kind of cute. After a little while, I broke up with the other guy and started dating Adam. We went to the zoo on our first date. We liked going to fun places on dates like the State Fair and Six Flags and camping. After we had been dating for a while, I knew he was the one for me. I think he knew too, so he asked my dad if he could ask me to marry me. My dad said yes. Adam asked me to marry me during the month of December, so it was cold. We got married the next August. I wore a pretty white dress and he wore a black tuxedo. After the wedding, we went to San Antonio for our honeymoon. Okay, so there's lots of mistakes in here, so I'm going to go back in and revise it, maybe add some stuff to it, and then edit it as well. So as I'm going through, I noticed here that I need to make sure this is a capital I because it's a beginning of the sentence, plus the word I is always capitalized. I was actually dating someone else. I don't need a period here, I need a comma. But I thought I should probably change that to Adam. But I thought Adam was a really nice guy and kind of cute. Oh, here it says after needs to be capitalized. After a little while, I broke up with the other guy and started dating Adam. Okay, that's good. We went to the zoo on our first date. Maybe I should add like Fort Worth Zoo. Add a little detail. So we went to the Fort Worth Zoo on our first date. We liked going to fun places on dates, like the State Fair. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add, like the movies. We went to the movies a lot. So I'm going to add the movies. The State Fair. The State Fair is the title or the name of a place, so I have to capitalize those. Proper nouns. And Six Flags, again, I don't need the word and, but Six Flags is the name of a place, so proper noun. Oh, but I do need a comma here, and camping. I'm going to say, and we went camping. Period. After, capital A, because it's the beginning of a sentence, after we had been dating for a while, I knew, I needs to be capitalized. He was the one for me, period. I think he knew too, so he asked my dad if he could ask me to marry me. That kind of doesn't make sense. He asked my dad if he could ask. I knew he was the one for me. I think he knew I was the one for him too, because he asked my dad if he could ask me to marry him. If he could ask me to marry him. That makes more sense. My dad said yes. Adam asked me to marry him during the month of December, so it was cold. Make sure there's a comma here. We got married the next August. I might add some details in there so that it kind of sounds, I'm going to put, we had a lot to do. I wore a pretty white dress and he wore a black tuxedo. After the wedding, we went to San Antonio for our honeymoon. So that right there, what I just did was I wrote my draft, I revised it, and then I edited it. Okay? So now I would take this piece and write a final draft, which I've already done. And then my final draft is all nice and pretty and with all my corrections. So the day I met Adam was on a Sunday morning at church. I was actually dating someone else at the time, but I thought Adam was a really nice guy and kind of cute. After a little while, I broke up with the other guy and started dating Adam. We went to the Fort Worth Zoo on our first date. We liked going to fun places when we went on our dates. We would go to the movies, Six Flags, the Texas State Fair, and we went camping. After we had been dating for about a year, I knew he was the one for me. I think he knew I was the one for him too, because he asked my dad if he could ask me to marry him. Adam asked me to marry him in December, so it was cold. We planned our wedding to be on August 12th, and we had a lot of things to do. We got flowers and lots of food. I wore a pretty white dress, and he wore a tuxedo. After the wedding, we went to San Antonio for our honeymoon. So that is how you brainstorm, plan, draft, revise, and edit for a final draft on a personal narrative. So make sure that you are taking each step as you write your personal narrative for tell me about a time when something great happened to you. If you need to, rewatch this video to help you understand each step. Thank you guys. I hope you have a good day.